Well, we got some breaking news for you today, folks. So there is a manufacturing company that's located in Pennsylvania by the name of East Penn Manufacturing. You do a simple Google search of them, and you'll find out they're a private company, and they're the world's largest single-site lead-acid battery facility. So clearly, plenty of people have worked for them in the past or work for them even currently. So here's the news. As of today, the Department of Labor disclosed this on their news forum that this company, East Penn Manufacturing, is going to owe $22 million in back wages to their employees, which amount to a little over 7,500 employees based on what they're saying. And if you read the title, you could see that it says it's amongst the largest wage verdict in the Department of Labor history. So definitely no joke in terms of what this judgment is, and definitely going to be some happy people who work for this company that are going to finally get some pay for time that they were unfortunately not paid in back time. So this is an interesting situation because this particular company, clearly these folks have to wear personal protective equipment to kind of protect their bodies from some of the dangerous chemicals that they're working around all day. And one of the first things that they pointed out in this article was that this particular company was only paying them for 8-hour scheduled shifts. The employer was not paying for additional time needed to put on and remove protective equipment. If anybody knows anything about HR and about the Department of Labor, there's this don and doff rule. It's like if you're going to don personal protective equipment, which means you're putting it on, and doffing meaning you're taking it off, you have to pay for the time. And there's been some court discussions that have happened in the past, but clearly this one came up. Also, these folks had to shower to remove, any, possibility of lead exposure, or other hazards, any of these other chemicals that they're working with. So clearly, things that they have to do and that they weren't paid for. So the employer basically shortchanged them in overtime for quite some time. And to make matters worse, there was 39 employees that confirmed that they and their coworkers performed unpaid work. So clearly they were being penalized according to these interviews. And they said they had a witness that performed a time study and provided testimony on the estimated time employees spent on this type of work. So clearly somebody had looked at this with them and clearly came to the conclusion that something was going on here. Also, this witness calculated back wages due to how much time the employer shaved from its employees' time punches. So you're not going to believe this, but volumes of employer time records showed that this company did not pay employees based on their actual clock in and clock out times. How scary is that? The records also showed that the employee or the company would adjust times to pay employees only for their scheduled shift. So if a person was scheduled to work at 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock with an hour lunch break, they were only paying them 8 to 5 with 1 hour lunch break. They weren't paying them a minute over or a minute less. They were paying them right the amount of time that they should have been paid. However, they missed out on one very important detail, that they were not accounting for all hours worked, or even the donning and doffing, or even just taking a shower to get the chemicals off of them. And the records showed that the company would adjust the times to pay them only for their scheduled shift. And of course, they did this every day and for every employee. So you can imagine that this is quite a substantial judgment against this company, but also something that you need to pay close attention to yourself. If you find yourself going in on timesheets and adjusting time purposefully to avoid paying overtime, you are walking some very walking into some very dangerous territory, and something that every HR professional or even attorney in employment or even a payroll professional will tell you not to do, even on your darkest day. So for sure, definitely not one of those things you want to mess with for sure. So thank y'all for joining me on this special update. Please like and subscribe to the videos. I'd love your support. Definitely appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.